All right, so the children are having this wonderful time of lectures and all of that, preparing for their continuous assessment tests, which commenced today. So last minute, I decided to leave my usual spot in the sitting area because they are using the sitting room, using the dining area and all of that. So I had to get a closet within the house to do this. So we are good. I'm here to answer questions. So let's try and focus on answering questions and let them be. All right, Ocholi Okutepa is my name. You are welcome to tonight's session. I'm glad you're here. And let's just take this on from this point. Okay, so I have some questions to answer tonight, and I'm going to do my best to see how far we go with those questions because I believe they'll bring clarity and help you understand a couple of things. First thing I'll say is please do well to invite other people, make them aware of this, and let's share this place and this time together. Okay. All right, so let me see how I jump on the questions that I got for today. Right? So number one question is, there someone who I was led to by God? The person eventually proposed to me. I prayed and accepted. I asked people who have known me over time to pray, and they also confirmed it. While relating with him, I have noticed he isn't patient with people. He decides on people really quickly, and this causes me to worry. He has his good sides, but the fact that he is sometimes impatient and easily judges people causes me to worry. Even this process, I keep telling God not to let me go into what I will regret. I'm currently not walking by emotions, but depending solely on what God said through scripture and other confirmations he gave me. I discussed with someone close to me, but he said, I noticed this because the guy is really open to me and I haven't really opened up to him. If not, he will see me as see my bad sides too. Please, sir, what can you say about this? All right, first thing I'll say is there is a very big mistake people make when it comes to the subject of God's will. All right, this person sounds like the common thing we hear out there, like when it comes to choosing a life partner, God suspends your brain and God wants to just do his thing. That's not correct. That's not correct. God does not suspend us in the process of the choice of a life partner. No, what he does is to guide us. Let me repeat that. God does not suspend our participation. You see, if you're noticing anything, you should be in position to interact with him over those things. Because you see, God is not going to impose a person on you. And let me quickly say this. Part of why you need to understand this is, if you're not careful, if anything happens later, a marriage is full of happenings. Even if God put you together from inside heaven, all right, if you do not handle the happenings of marriage well, you are going to have problems on the earth. All right, and that's why I always teach that marriages made in heaven fail on earth. Marriages made in heaven fail on earth. Why? It is beyond confirmation. Why am I saying this? We live in a generation that are very high on confirmation. Like, we are so big on confirmation, we think that it's about confirmation, it's about how I felt in my spirit, it's about how many persons say to me, yeah, that's it, give it a go. I have seen marriages that have all the confirmation, have the, the Christian foundation, have this, have that faith. Why? There are so many other factors that hold a union together. So let me quickly say that the future of your marriage is not simply dependent on choosing right. Why choosing right is important, or choosing according to God's will. That is just the beginning, all right, of the whole series of things involved. For example, you may start a house with a good foundation but build poorly. The house will still collapse, all right, or the house will not stand the test of time. You see, foundation may be strong, but if you can't nail anything to the wall is weak. You see, so the foundation may be solid, but the building can still fall. Right? So it's important to understand, first of all, disabuse your mind from this, God's will thing as your surest security. Yes, it is security. But do not focus so much on trying to do God's will or follow God's person that you forget that there are other parameters to it. So let me say this first of all. It takes a conviction of heart, of course, to commence a relationship. Then it takes the consistency of character to continue it. Let me repeat. It should take the conviction of heart to commence the relationship. But it must necessarily take consistency of character to sustain it. You know why? The Bible says by their fruit you know them. Do not forget. You see, all this assurance we talk about, it's so easy to miss God and still be sure why missing him. Don't forget that when the prophet came to David's brothers, David was not even in sight. David was in the bush. All right, for each of them he said, surely the Lord's anointed is before me. And he was wrong, because the Lord's anointed was in the bush. Now, that is a prophet, Samuel, whose words the Bible said never fell to the ground. His words fell to the ground that day. Right? So when the Bible talks about his word never falling to the ground, it is that, you see, he corrected himself in such circumstances. But if it is that he ever missed it, he missed it well. Where? He looked at frame, he looked at structure, he looked at so many things to say, surely the Lord's anointed is before me. But he was wrong. You see, your capacity to be wrong when it comes to, following God's leading is why you need to have an added layer of security, which is consistency. I'm telling you, do you know you can be so convinced about a person that when they get into your life, what you will see should drive you back to God. Like, what is this? What is this? Right? So I'm not saying, you see, just go around breaking relationship. But here's the deal. In courtship, we sit on the judgment seat. What is the judgment seat? All right? In courtship, we sit on the judgment seat, where I begin to examine, can I do with this one? Can I live this life with you? Can we share this life based on your set of conviction, your set of, character and all of that? Can I? See, you can like a person, or like this person is saying, you're not even focused on whether you like them or don't like them. You have left emotion aside. You're just following God. See, I beg. God is not the author of confusion. God is not the author of confusion. It is very possible, all right, that you need to go and recheck what you believe. All right? Examine what you believe. You may have missed it completely. Or, here's the deal. If it is God, and you encounter certain circumstances, you know what God will do? God will show you the way out of the circumstance. God will show you the way out of the circumstance. So, you see, God is not the author of confusion that he'll put you in a thing and say, just be there because I put you there. No. All right? So, if he's very judgmental, chances are that he may not, and let me repeat that, chances are that he may not be a person that is good for your future. I'm telling you, you see, judgmental people don't do very well with relationships. Judgmental people they're not kind, they're not merciful. That's the honest truth. And for a lot of judgmental people, they also do not easily assess mercy. You know why they don't easily assess mercy? The measure with which you meet to others, the Bible says, will be meted to you. So if you are in the habit of, judging people, putting people down, rubbishing people and all of that, you may not find answer very quickly. So by the time you go into the analysis of this person's conduct, the possibility of, you're having a successful relationship, it is slim, except you're lying. If it's judgmental, even you, because one of the things that keep relationships going better and properly is the capacity to forgive and to move on. Because none of us is perfect indeed. We're perfect in our spirit by the finished works of Christ. But we're trying to work out our salvation. So we're going to have different rough edges. That's why forgiveness is a necessary part of a union. Right? So it doesn't matter that you feel God confirmed and all of that. Are you confirming the confirmation of God? Like, are you seeing that there's consistency, all right, in what you believe God has commanded? Until you look at those, you may be completely mistaken as to the issues at stake. So I urge you, all right, one of the things you want to do, okay, is to step back and pray. Lord, it's okay to go back to the Lord, like, did I miss you? All right? Or if this is you, what instructions do you have for me in dealing with this matter? Because until you deal with it from that perspective, you may not, all right, you may not have taken the right decision. So number one, recheck your heart. if you have firm conviction that you're on the right path, then you begin to ask God for the solution and your participation in the solution. Because until you are actually take your place, all right, through a godly conviction, you'll be frustrated. Let me repeat that. Why do we ask the Lord, what is my role, if this is the place? So that I can take my place. Why? Until I take my place in what is not palatable, I'll be frustrated. So you see, except you want to cut frustration, you must, all right, ask the Lord, all right, to guide your heart. If this is, the path you have, you go. After you exercise that decision, to be able to be at that point where you know your part. Are you an intercessor for this? Are you going to speak with him about this? What part are you going to play when it comes to this matter? All right? Until you see it from that perspective, you actually do not appreciate, all right, being in their life. And again, let me repeat, God is not the author of confusion. And if you find yourself confused at what you say God is commanding or instructing, then you have some job to do in prayer to go back to the place where you say, Lord, how do I find myself in this circumstance? And what do I do in circumstances like this to play a part and, all right, to help this person? Because essentially, see, when God brings us into the lives of other people, he wants us to play a part in helping them. He wants us to play a part in making sure, all right, that they are stabilized and perfected in God. You see, marriage is part of God's perfecting plan. Marriage is part of God's perfecting plan. So in essence, if you come into somebody's life, all right, if you come into somebody's life with their levels of imperfection, you are part of the plan. So you need to be convinced in your heart that you have a part to play. All right? That you have a part to play, because until you are convinced in your heart that you have a part to play, you are going to live in frustration with them. All right? So first thing I want to say, and let me quickly add this. Christians sometimes want to feel spiritual by liking or trying to like what they do not like because they feel that God sent them there. You see, please shelve that idea that God's will always not be palatable to you. Shelve that idea. The only time where God's will should not be impressive to you is when you are in the flesh or when you are carnal. Because marriage is in the flesh anyway, attraction is in the flesh. The only time where God's will should not be pleasing to you is when you find out that you are carnal. Right? Otherwise, when you are in the spirit, God's will should be pleasing to you. So please normalize seeing a person liking them and agreeing that God wants you to like them. Normalize marrying your spec and you know that you're not going against God's will. Normalize it. Normalize it. So God is not walking around looking for his children that he will shove things down their neck. Like, let me just punish this one. So anytime God's will is hard for us, is because we don't see the perfect picture. Because the moment you see the full picture, let me ask you, when were you born? You want to compete with God who made you. You want to compete with the one who before he formed you in your mother's womb, he knew you. So firstly, make peace with the fact that God's choice, God's will for us will be good. He said, my thoughts for you are thoughts of good, not of evil, to bring you to an expected end. All right? So shelve the idea that God's will has to be tough. If you don't like this guy, you don't like him. And you are now seeing more reason why you don't like him. So tell yourself the truth. This judgmental behavior, God, how far? Me, I don't like it. That's the honest truth. God will never force our will. He will only guide it. Then he can tell you, it's my son. He's going through a phase. All right? Then about the issue of your attraction to him. Are you sure you are not attracted? God is a good father. He will gist with you. Have you realized that in your past, there are people you used to not be attracted to? There are people you didn't used to like. You now like them. They are your friends. In essence, you caught up with reality at a different level. Right? So you want to be careful. For me, on this kind of matter, you need to slow down. There's too much conflict because you are holding on to God confirmed. But, so you're not reacting in flesh. Then you're now seeing other things. And let me quickly say this. If a relationship does not start on an exciting note, I fear for that relationship. Why? Marriage has work. So imagine starting in a place where there's no excitement already. Even those of us and people that had great excitement, when they entered, they met the work. The kind of work that sometimes will suck away the entire excitement you have. So I also wonder if we entered with so much excitement, because I mean, somebody asked me this past week, like, did I develop cold feet towards my wedding? I say, cold feet from where? The honest truth is there was nothing like cold feet. Cold Guinea. I say we were too excited getting married to have any cold feet on any matter. We were just excited getting married. I was now saying to the person, perhaps because we were getting married quite young, like we didn't even have time, you know, we didn't have time to start wondering what is, we didn't have time. But guess what? With all that excitement, Mumu that worried us is good Mumusha. You know, I was crying on my wedding day, crying, weeping, you know, tears of joy. We entered. They walk inside marriage. The reconciling of your respective weaknesses, imperfections, trying to make you work according to God's will is a lot of work. It will smoke away your excitement. So when I look at people who are starting at a point where they look like God is forcing them, I'm like, what's with you? That's not who God is. That's not who God is. There should be excitement. You see, go and read Songs of Solomon. Go and see through scripture. Alright? See, God's not the author of confusion. So if you are missing God somehow, if you are deciding not to see what God is seeing, then go and ask him to open your eyes. Alright? He won't shove it down your throat if you are not carnal on the matter. Alright? So take time to go back in prayer. To this person, I'm saying essentially, you need to spend some time in prayer. And not in prayer to give God more responsibility. It is God, please give clarity to my heart. God will give clarity, you will act on it. Because a lot of people, their problem is that they are waiting for God to give them clarity. They are waiting for God to act it for them. God is not responsible for taking steps. You are. All that God is responsible for is to give you clarity. Right? To give you clarity of heart that I am in this, proceed. Look, every time you realize that God is telling you to go a direction you are struggling with, begin to ask him for grace to see what you cannot see. You see, when they were surrounded on that day, the prophet's apprentice looked at him and said, we are surrounded. What did the prophet do? The prophet prayed for his eyes to open. The moment his eyes opened, what he realized that his experience became different. You see, sometimes the emotions we claim we don't have is because we're not seeing what God is seeing when God is leading us. The moment the apprentice of the prophet began to see, all right, that they that were with them were more than they that were against them, you see, he relaxed. He just realized, why am I worried? Why am I concerned? Because they that are with us are more than they that are against us. All right? So he found a different experience from that moment. All his agitations disappeared. All his fear disappeared. He just became as confident as a prophet. What happened there? He saw differently. So you see, anytime we come to a point where we believe that God is saying something that we are not seeing, we should ask him to open our own eyes to see, so that our experience becomes altered by what we have seen. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that our experience becomes altered by what we have seen. Alright? Very, very important. Let me see if I can take one more. Meanwhile, if you're just joining, you're not seeing me in my usual spot today. So the children have CA for the week. They're doing some form of lesson from the dining to the sitting room and blah blah. So I just entered my closet. So I am I'm within my own closet. Alright, so stay with me. Alright, good afternoon, Pastor. Trust you are doing fine. Please, I want to run something by you and seek your counsel. I've been in a relationship for 4 years now, and things have been there. Normal challenges here and there, but recently I met someone and she made all the difference. Now I am in doubt about my relationship because of a number of things. You see, let's not go far. My brother, something is going on with you. You are beginning to learn that relationship is about commitment, not convenience. Every time you open your door to somebody else, you are going to see something your partner is not. Anytime. See, no matter who your partner is, the day you open door to consider others, you are finished. That's the origin of infidelity. That's the origin of cheating. That's the origin of dissatisfaction. That's the origin of most divorces that you see today. Well, just give attention. That's why, let me tell you the truth. Once you have commitment, flee every other person. Just flee. Don't give it room. See, nobody is perfect. Nobody has it all. If you open the door, you will see things. All right? So you see, the new things you are finding about your partner is on a comparative scale. Very comparative scale. So you see, one of the things you must do if you want to succeed in a relationship and sustain a marriage, for example, is that you must shut the door at the level of what you have. Shut the door. Like completely close the door and say, you see what, I'm not considering anything again. If you want to continue to consider things and people, you will never stop. I'm telling you. You see, and that's why we do not stay in a relationship or make relationship decisions on our emotions. Because our emotions are so fickle, they are constantly changing. I'm telling you. See, I'm a man of God. I don't want to lie to you. Church girls are fine. There are fine people everywhere. Girls, Jesus. You see girls? Ooh. You have given your wife belly. Oh, if you are not all Nigerians, yeah. Like you have impregnated your wife. She's giving birth. Your wife's going to add weight. People are going to have, alteration to their body. Yes. Stretch mark will happen. What is stretch mark? When the body stretch and relapses, there is mark. Stretch mark is the mark that happens to say, yes, you rose and you fell. That is stretch mark. Or you rose and I expanded. Stretch mark is the pass mark that you have expanded. End of story. You see, you're going to meet someone. You're going to meet a young lady. You're going to meet, younger people. You're going to meet people who have what your partner does not have. And if you're not careful, you enter useless, unfair comparison. So wait, is this my wife of almost 15 years, 3 children later, 20-something years of knowing her, that I want to compare with a 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, or a 25-year-old, that I want to compare? They are not the same. They are not the same. You see, stop giving room to Satan to confuse you. End of story. Like somebody said, and I adopted one time, I was telling my wife, besides my wife, even every other lady is a brother. I don't want to consider. Because you are likely to have something. Everybody has something somebody else does not have. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you see this person you met, you are opening door. And you are rehearsing unfaithfulness. Because in your life, you will meet people. Oh, you will meet people. This one I even describe is too direct. Alright, it's opposite. You will meet people who have also been married or done something, but still have qualities your partner does not have. Just the way your partner has qualities they don't have. So you see, one of the things you do when it comes to love relationship is to stay in a place and conclude that is where to stay and die. I die here. Do you understand what I'm saying? See, it's a life commitment. It's not a commitment that is shilly-shally or, given to adjustment based on how you feel. No. Or based on adjustment, rather, given to adjustment based on alternatives. You must be careful. Alternatives present themselves every day, every single day. So you want to be sure that you make a conscious decision that when you begin to have a pull at any direction, and let me quickly say this. Anybody who increasingly less to you is a person to cut off. Anybody who makes your partner look less to you than what they are is a person to cut off. If relating with you diminishes the quality of my wife, I will cut you off. Because you're about to my marriage. That's the honest truth. If I keep relating with you, and relating with you makes my wife diminish in my eye, go lower in my eye, feeling incomplete in my eye, feeling inadequate in my eyes or in my heart, you should go. You are not meant to be in my life. Because you see, when the Bible says, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder, that's what it means. Anything that will contribute to putting asunder is a thing I should put away. Right? So, very important. Some quick notices. Again, I'm coming to you today from my closet. All right? Maybe that's why I'm having a close-knit conversation. It is good to start the week with you. We have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Make it a date with me, 7 p.m. And please invite your friends. We just started this 2 weeks now. Yeah, we want to stay here and grow it. We want to make sure. We will soon even have, our guys come in and set up the proper equipment so that I come to you in better quality. But we want to make sure we grow this channel, answering questions. Let me tell you the truth. Many people who need this channel. I'm telling you. It's not like begging you to bring people. It is like begging you to help people. I'm telling you. It's begging you to... See, For instance, our couch conversation playlist so much, men only playlist so much. I mean, we have playlists on this channel with wonderful teachings that you will be glad that you help people to see. All right, help us reach more people. That's why we are here. All right, I come your way tomorrow at 7 p.m. again, answering questions. You can send in your questions to our number. Is right on this channel. You can just check about us, and you will see our channel, our WhatsApp number. You see our email address. You can send us a message, and I'll be glad to feature your questions as I come your way every weekday, Mondays through Thursdays, not every weekday, excluding Fridays. All right, so it was good to stop by here tonight. I'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. And if you're in Abuja next week at the sit out, we're discussing Kiss and Tell, Love is Beautiful. All right, if you're in Abuja and you don't come for our meetings, you are missing. Like the presence, the spirit, the teaching, the prayer, the miracles. Oh my God, we are excited to welcome you, and I look forward to you. And we have books. If you check this channel, we have links to our books. You might want to look at that, and you will just be blessed doing that. Again, please invite others. Share the links to this channel tonight. Pick 5 friends, pick 10 friends, share to them. Let them come into this community and be blessed. All right, God bless you. I speak the blessing over you. You'll be greater when I see you next than I know you now. In Jesus' name. God bless you. Good night.